Today's podcast is brought to you by StrongHeartAcademy.com, where no heart is no victory. We are also brought to you by BJJ To Go. If you want to build your game and learn jiu-jitsu, go to bjjtogo.com. Okay, so this one is a quick one. I just had this weird memory pop in my mind this week, and it was about this girl that I was schoolmates with when I lived in Scottsdale when I was about 9 years old. I think I was in third grade, and we were learning cursive. A couple things with that. So I grew up kind of middle class in North Phoenix, and my dad had an opportunity to get a house from a client of his. He does landscaping in Scottsdale, really nice house. And we moved there for about a year or half a year. I don't think I even finished the third grade there. Maybe about 8 months, maybe. It was a very weird experience. We just picked up everything and moved there for half a year. And it was very fish out of water scenario where we were kind of poor compared to everybody else. And and anyway, so I since all my schooling, especially elementary school, I was in all the special needs classes. So I don't know even what they call it anymore, but I had trouble. I have multiple learning disabilities. Okay, so I have dyslexia. I have types of math dyslexia. I'm left-handed, so when I write, I have to turn the page sideways to write. So I've always had terrible penmanship. I omit words. If everyone ever read any of my posts, I'm way better now because I focus. I know tricks to fix things now. And honestly, nothing was ever taught in school. I learned all that myself. I give no props to any teachers that I ever had in school. None, honestly. I learned how to learn myself. But anyway, the whole point was I had this girl in my class, and we're learning cursive. Now, part of the problem was I'd have to leave in the middle of cursive class to go to my special needs class because back then they never coordinated with the teachers, and the teachers just didn't give a crap. So, you're a retard kid, so go to your retard class, come back, whatever. They just didn't give a fuck in the 80s. So, that's why I have no mercy for these teachers. I'm sure some of them care, but a lot of them are just burned out. So, anyway. We're doing cursive, and the girl sat next to me. She had an arm that was short, and I think half her forearm was there, and then her hand had a thumb and a pinky, but she could kind of grip with her thumb, and she would write. Her other arm was fine. Everything was that you could visibly see was normal, I guess you would say. And she would write, and she sat next to me, and her handwriting was so much better than mine. I mean, it was amazing, how good her handwriting was. And, no one ever talked to me about the danger of comparison and how it's a thief of joy. And it causes jealousy. It's just stupid. It's a stupid way of thinking. And I almost feel that should be taught in school too. Hey, don't compare yourselves to other people. Only know that if someone else can do it, you could probably do it. But if they're doing well, just be happy for them. Hey, good job. You're doing great. But that was not my thought process at 9 years old. I was I'm a retard. This girl with a deformed hand is it can write better than me. She's smarter than me. She was getting straight A's, and I was so jealous of this girl. And have to think about that. I was jealous of someone that didn't have full function of their hands. I have full function of my hands, And sometimes that's we forget the blessings that we have, the gifts that we have. And when we compare to other people, I'm sure she would take my hand over having good handwriting. And my thought process taking away from the fact that she probably worked really hard to have absolutely beautiful handwriting. Because it was also funny that she never switched hands. I don't remember if it was a right hand or left hand, or I think it was a right hand, So instead of using her left hand like me, she used her right hand. So, but because it was like had issues, it was deformed. She didn't care. It was still her dominant hand. So, she stayed with that, and she had better handwriting than me. And I remember like thinking like, this is just what I'm perfectly fine, and I'm just less. I felt less than, and it's a terrible feeling to feel less than other people. And I felt that way for so long, and I used to have really bad depression when I was a kid too. I had ADD. I mean, so many things. And the other lesson with that is like, you can focus on what's wrong with you instead of like moving on and learning how to deal with it or get better in spite of it. I hated reading. I hated they would make you read in front of other people, and it was absolutely terrifying and just lessen my self-esteem, because I would stutter, and I would not stutter. I would stutter my words, but I'm not really stuttering. And then this class, what they put you in the special needs class, it was like everyone that had any kind of special needs. So like you were just with everybody, and like you're looking around, and I'm getting straight A's in that class. And I finally found that how I learn. I figured out how I need to learn. Now, school is not built the way that I need to learn, but modern society is perfect the way I need to learn. I can look up anything I want. I can pay for tutors. They have all these online apps for tutors now that are amazing. Like, if you want to learn, you can learn. It's just your will to learn. And once I got to the point where I understood, like, nobody's going to save me here. Nobody. And my mom tried. I mean, she hired, especially in high school, I had some tutors for math, because math was so hard for me just to pass, and I was getting straight A's in like everything, but math was the last one. It was like really hard for me. But I remember like not wanting to read, and now I read so much. And I have someone I just talked to last week, and she was like, I have ADD, it's so hard to read. I don't really like to read. And I was just like, you have to find something you like to read, and don't be in a rush. If you have to read a page multiple times, my homework used to take me so long because I'd have to redo it. Like when you write a paper, you have to do drafts, right? Everything was like first draft, second draft, third draft. I would sometimes, if I had a worksheet that they give you, I would do it on a different piece of paper and then transfer it over. And then, nothing would pen because it would make a mess, because I'd have to erase. But if you're willing to like do the work, there's so many things you can overcome. And like comparing yourself to other people is such a waste of time. And I just wish that wasn't a lesson that I literally learned on my own. And I wish that it was taught more. And so I try to tell people about it and share that with people. But I think it's once you start understanding this concept of like comparison, and I still, not that long ago, I was still comparing myself to like other jiu-jitsu players or other gym owners. Why am I doing? But now I'm like, man, good for you that your gym's doing well. Good for you that you're good at jiu-jitsu. Worry about me. Like, how can I make my jiu-jitsu better? How can I make my gym better? And ever since I started doing that, my jiu-jitsu has gone so much better, and my gym, my academy is so much better. I arguably have the best academy within 5 miles of me, maybe even 10 miles of me. I have the most students. I have really good. The level is so good here. The vibe is good. It's clean. It's nice. I mean, if I just focus on looking at other people, that takes away time that I could be working on what I'm doing and getting better. And I hope this girl, with the deformed hand is, grew into a woman, and she has a great life and has kids, and there's a happy life. But I was so like, I hate this bitch. It's such a terrible thing to think about. And I wasn't never mean to her, but I was just so jealous of like how she was so smart, and she overcame something that could set someone back. And she never seemed to like think about it. She never looked at it. She's clearly, even a 9-year-old, was aware that people knew that she wasn't hiding it. She didn't put something over it or whatever. she was just like, I'm me. And that now is very inspiring. So I just encourage you guys to do that. Work on yourselves, not on others. If someone is able to overcome something, just understand that is the ability that you have as well. Everyone has something wrong with them. We are not perfect, but I feel like part of the journey is like learning to overcome your shortcomings. And I encourage you guys to do that, and do not compare yourselves to others. It is a waste of time. All right. Thanks. Peace.
Let me talk for just a second, help me feel that sense of rhythm. Find the meanings in our bearings and discover this position as a stage along the way. Another rung to the ladder, either stalling or you're climbing, and I'd rather be the latter. Instead of getting fatter, let the footsteps resume naturally.